All right, Shabbat Shalom, Yeshahala, and Yechrataza Allah, Ban Lawyer. We're going to go through a brief class this morning. First and foremost, we'd love to give thanks and praise to Yahweh Shai for allowing us to make it through to the Sabbath. As you see all the things going on in the world, this virus and things are just getting hectic out there. So we need to be prayed up and we need to be observing the Most High's laws and his feast days. Now, we're going to go over today when it's a Passover and when it's the first fruits, because I see a lot of brothers they're having Passover already. Some brothers are in Passover right now as I speak. Some had theirs already earlier, But we're going to go through a few basic scriptures. It's not going to be a long class. So first scripture we're going to go to is Leviticus. Leviticus chapter 23. And we're going to start at verse 4. Right? It says, "These are the feasts of Yahweh, even holy convocations, which ye shall proclaim in their seasons." See, the main word in here we're looking for is seasons, because each feast falls in a certain season, Verse 5, "In the 14th day of the first month at even is Yahweh's Passover," right? So the first month, the 14th day of the first month, first of all, what is the first month, right? In order to find out what the first month is, we're going to have to go to Exodus. We're going to go to Exodus 23. We're going to go through scriptures. Exodus 23 and verse 15, right? Exodus 23:15 reads, "Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib," right? So the feast of unleavened bread, Passover, is supposed to be kept in the month of Abib, right? Now, what is Abib? How do you know when is Abib? First of all, you have to go back to the root word Abib, which is Abayab, right? When you look up the meaning of the word Abib or Abayab, you will see that it means green ears. Now, what is it talking about? Green ears of what? When is the green ears coming in? The green ears come in during the springtime, right? Now, the first thing you need to know also is that there are two major harvests in Israel that we deal with. That's the barley and the wheat, right? Now, the first harvest that deals with the Passover is the barley harvest, right? I'm going to read a couple of notes I got from the internet. You can do your own research and you'll find out that the barley and the wheat harvest, they're all planted at the same time during the fall, right around the time of tabernacles. The wheat and the barley is planted. And come springtime, come the time of Abib or Abayab, then they begin to bloom and harvest, right? But seeing that the barley grows faster than the wheat, the barley would come in first, right? And later on, in about a month or two, then you would see the wheat harvest come in. I'm going to show you the list of months, the Hebrew months, and what harvest comes in during those months, right? Because that's very important to know when our harvest is and when our feast days are and when they come in. Right? I mean, we have brothers out there. I mean, they know a lot of scriptures, they know history and so on, but they got to know their land. They got to know what goes on in the land, what goes on with the harvest, what time to plant, what time to reap. You know, these are important things to know also as an Israelite. You know, because here it is what? March the 7th, right? So this, to some brothers, would be the 14th day of the first month. So if this is the 14th day of the first month, that means their first month or their Abib would have to been what? Near late February. February is what? Hadar. February is the month Adar. You know, February is still the winter time, you know. So their first month would have to have been around February, what, the 23rd, somewhere around that area would be their first month. Now, is February the 23rd Abib? Are you gathering the first green ears in February in the depths of winter? No. Abib, Passover, has to be in Abib. That's why we read here in Exodus 23. I'm going to read it again. It says, "Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days as I commanded thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib." Right? "For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty." Right? So Abib, like I said, Abib means green ears. So your feast of unleavened bread, your Passover is supposed to be in that month. You know, you can't have Passover before Abib. You're going off. It's not according to scripture, right? I'm going to get one more scripture, Deuteronomy chapter 16 and 1. Deuteronomy 16 and 1 reads, "Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto Yahweh thy power. For in the month of Abib, Yahweh thy power brought thee forth out of Egypt by night." Right? Here's a second reference. The month of Abib is the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Right? Now, like I said earlier, the word Abib means green ears. Now, I'm going to show you, as you can see on the screen here, the months of the feast days. Now, you're going to see that in April, or between March and April, you're going to have what they call the barley harvest, right? And as you go down to May, June, you're going to see what? The wheat harvest, right? Because that's when the wheat is beginning to now sprout. That's when the first fruits of the wheat is being gathered in, right? Because a lot of us get confused when they read Leviticus 23. We're going to go right back to that again on how to calculate the first fruits, you know. So we're going to read Leviticus 23 and we'll start at 10, right? Well, now we go into, by now we should understand that Passover is supposed to be in what month? The month of Abib, when the green ears, the first ears of the harvest of barley is coming in, right? So if your Passover is going on now, or you had your Passover already, you're in the wrong month, right? So we need to get straight with that. We need to be on one accord with when we keep our Passover, right? Now the next feast is going to be the Feast of Weeks, or what they call Pentecost, right? So we're going to read Leviticus 23 and verse 10. And it says, speak unto the children of Yasha'Allah, and say unto them, when you be come into the land which I gave unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. So that first fruits that they're bringing is actually the barley, because at this time during Passover, the wheat is not yet ready to be harvested. The barley is now in the green ears. So you bring the green ears of barley unto the priest during the Sabbath, after the Sabbath of the Passover, right? And ye shall wave the sheaf before Yahweh to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it. And ye shall offer that day, when you wave the sheaf, a he lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering unto Yahweh. So in other words, before you even eat any of your barley, because the main crops, like I said, of Israel was the cereal, the barley cereal, and the wheat. So the first thing you would bring in is that first green ear during the month of Abib, during the Passover, right? And you would wave that barley sheaf before the priest. The priest would wave it, and then you can go into your harvest and start gathering it, right? Verse 13. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deal of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto Yahweh for a sweet savor. And a drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the fourth part of a hin. And you shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears until the selfsame day that you brought an offering unto your power. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generations in all your dwellings. So in other words, you couldn't eat any of your harvest or make any unleavened bread or anything until you bring that sheaf in. That sheaf, that first fruits, is the first thing that you're supposed to be offered to the priest, right? Verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye bought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Now this is where we begin to get a little confused, because the scripture says 7 Sabbaths from the day that you bought in the sheaf, right? 7 Sabbaths is what? 49 days, right? Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall you number 50 days. So after the 7th Sabbath, you add one more day, which the morrow after the 7th Sabbath is 50 days. But what some brothers are doing is they're counting 7 Sabbaths and they're adding on another 50 days. That's wrong according to the scripture. It's wrong even according to the harvest of the Most High. We're going to show you that right now, right? It said, even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall ye number 50 days and offer a new meat offering unto the Most High. So after that 50th day, you're going to bring in what? You're going to bring in the first fruits of your wheat harvest. That's what you're going to be bringing in. You're not going to be bringing in your first fruits of the wheat harvest, 99 days from Passover. You're not going to do that, because you're going to be in the summertime. You're going to be down there in June, July. By that time, your wheat harvest has already been completed. It's done. So you can be bringing in your wheat, the first fruits of your wheat harvest during the end of July, June, July. That's if you're having your Passover. We having our Passover on April 8th, right? So we're gonna count 50 days from the Sabbath after the Passover, and then we're gonna get our first fruits. We're not gonna count 99 days from Passover to bring in the first fruits. We're gonna count 50 days according to the scripture, right? Verse 17 says, ye shall bring out of your habitations 2 wave loaves of 2/10 deal. There shall be a fine flour. They shall be baken with leaven. They are the first fruits unto Yahweh. So what are you making the bread with? You're not making it with the barley, you're making the bread with the wheat, right? So the first thing you do once you reap that wheat harvest is you're gonna make you're gonna make some leavened bread according to the scripture, right? That's why I said there shall be a fine flour, there shall be baked with leaven, right? They are the first fruits unto Yahweh. And you shall offer with the bread 7 lambs without blemish of the first year, and 1 young bullock, and 2 rams. They shall be for a burnt offering unto Yahweh, with their meat offering and their drink offering, even an offering made by fire, a sweet savor unto Yahweh. Right? So this is the Feast of Weeks. This is Pentecost. That's why it's called Pentecost, because Pentecost, Penta means what? 50. Pentecost doesn't mean 99. Pentecost means 50 days from the Feast of Unleavened Bread, right? So let's go to let's prove this, that the about the wheat harvest. Let's go to Exodus chapter 34 and 22. Exodus 34:22 reads, "And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, Pentecost, the 7 weeks, right? Of the first fruits of wheat harvest." You hear me? First fruits has to deal with the wheat harvest. Now I'm going to put up that calendar and show you when the wheat harvest come in. Now, when you look at the calendar there, you'll see that the wheat harvest begin to come in between May and June, late May and early June. That's when the first green ears of the wheat harvest begin to come in. Right? So I'm going to read that again. "And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks of the first fruits of wheat harvest." The first fruit of your wheat, which is the green ear, that's when you begin to observe the feast of first fruits, or Pentecost. That's when you bring in that offering, right? And the feast of ingathering in the year's ending. We're not going to get into tabernacle or the end gathering. Of course, the end gathering deals with, you're getting you gathered in all your wheat, your barley. During the summer, you got your fruits. Now it's winter time, right? You're getting ready for the winter. So now you're gathering all that you have reaped during the year to prepare for the winter, right? So that's basically what Pentecost is all about, and when Pentecost should come in. Pentecost is not supposed to be coming in late June, July. Passover, everything deals with its seasons. Passover has to come in after what we call spring. Springtime is when everything begins to bud, right? If you're in February, that means you're not in the springtime, right? Springtime comes in during the month of March 21st, in that area, right? So if your Passover or your month of Abib is before March 21st, you're in the wrong season. You're not celebrating the feast according to its appointed time, right? So these are things that we need to correct as Israelites. Don't just know scripture, know about your land, visit your land, because these are things that we're going to be getting back to, right? So I hope you brothers and sisters got some understanding concerning Passover and concerning the Feast of Weeks, right? Our first fruits will be coming in late May, according to the scripture. About May 30th, we'll be having our first fruits, right? So if your first fruits, like I said, is in late June, July, you're in the wrong month. So let's get together, let's get it right, huh? All All right, Shabbat Shalom. Hope you brothers enjoyed the class. Have a safe Sabbath.